Honorable jury members, respected organizers, and my dear friends. Uncertainty is a new normal nowadays, and we will stick to the fact. Project, a temporary endeavor to create a unique product or service. Just reiterating to put the context right. The topic says project management is more important than service management, and I'm speaking for the motion, no doubt. We want to develop something which is unique. We want to build a certain product which can definitely going to add value to the business and to its end customers. How relevant is it if we compare it with the service management that would be taking thereafter? Whatever we intend to design, what we intend to build, we need it to be perfect or near perfect. We would try our best, and we would also try the right things to reach to the goal. The product or services we intend to develop, right? So obviously this is more important. Primarily because this is our stepping steps into the market. We don't want to deliver something which is patchy, something which need lots of change requests coming in later on, something which shakes the confidence of our client, something which affects the revenue, something which impact our positioning in the market, because we haven't delivered which what we intend to deliver. Project management perspective, if I put it from EMP, it says understand the requirement, involve all stakeholders. It stresses a lot on understanding the requirement. If we have understood the requirement, we want to have this bottle, dimension of this bottle, the size of this bottle, the volume of this bottle, we would deliver it. That if we have done each and everything that is needed for the development of a product or the service according to the steps and the actions directed and indicated by the EMP, we will definitely getting a great product. We would require in the later stage less changes, less tensions in the system between the client and the delivery managers and the delivery team. And what more, it would drive us towards the new market where we will be getting more references from our client. Obviously, we as a vendor or a partner have delivered something excellent because we followed the best practices in the project management that would satisfy our customer need, our client's need, that would propel more requirements, more projects, and also the referral in the market, which again build up our base into the new market, have a handshaking action or the step with the new clients. I find no reason to digress from the fact that project management cannot be or in any way lesser than service management. It is obviously very important because it is our first vocal, first tangible thing that we have done in our relationship with our client. And that would again drive us to the new milestone, that would drive us to the some position where we would say, okay, boss, this is the requirement, we have done it to the near perfection without minimum flaws. What else we need? Requirements have been met. Nothing more, nothing less. Later on gold plating, that would be taken care. Later on customer and other things wish and all those wish lists, that would be taken care. But following the norms and the regulations of the project management practices, what was supposed to be done, we have done judiciously. We have done justice to the approaches that we have followed. And here is the product, which is speaking in volumes. I don't need, a good show needs no advertisement. What Shakespeare says, my product itself do my marketing, it will take care. I cannot convince the people. I would hand over this bottle, this is boss, this is what the requirement was. Baseline, this is the requirement, this is what we deliver. Tell me, how effective and efficient we have been. Does it make some business sense to you? Can we have more engagement? When we bid for the more projects, we can be the priority customer for our client. Because we have made our presence felt and felt very strongly by delivering what was expected in the first place. So, in whole honesty and the integrity, I stand with what I said initially for the motion that project management is obviously better than the service management. Though service management has its own scope, has its own ways of tackling this thing, has its own presence in certain areas. But what else? If you have not delivered what was required, a unique product or service, there are the flaws. When you move to the service stages, lots of change requests coming in. Every time you end up spending lots of time in impact analysis. And obviously the gratification that would be given to the customer would not be the level that he was expecting or you as a market bidder expecting. So dear friends, I strongly go with the notion that yes, let's have the first thing in a proper place. Later on, whatever comes in, we would take care. But let's have everything done in a coherent and a coordinated manner, the way the standard guidelines are there, so that we can have minimum debate. Excellent project management is not only a best and the right practice, it's a way to happiness. You would avoid late night calls, you would avoid crisis calls, you would avoid lots of other things. And most importantly, you would avoid shaking the confidence of the client who has entrusted on you, who has put lots of money on his stake, and who would be appreciating and you would be getting an excellent CSAT score, an excellent reference thereafter in the market area. With these my initial points, I would like to invite Ashish.
Thank you, Zafar. The topic that has been given to us for discussion today, project management, is more important than service management. Honestly, when it was given to me and I was asked to speak against the motion, I was scared. Having worked in the traditional project management space, you always tend to think that managing a project well is the end all and be all of being a project manager. But when you think more about it, what does project management do? Project management eventually creates a new product or a new service. But what brings that service or new product to the users? It's service delivery, it's service management. A great product or a great service cannot be used by anybody across the globe unless there is somebody there to make it available or support it. Let me give you an example here. And this comes from one of my consulting assignments. It was a North American company and they were implementing something which was an application lifecycle management tool. The requirements were very well laid out. It was a very functional, off-the-shelf tool which was basically being customized. Everything went according to schedule. We had a big plan release. Everything worked great. 1 month down the line, we realized that nobody uses that tool. Not because the functionality was not there. Not because requirements were not fulfilled. Not because we didn't adhere to a schedule. Simply because to create a new user into the database, our support team required 7 days. You cannot even imagine the kind of embarrassment that particular client would have had because they had planned for everything in the project, but nothing about the service delivery side of it. Service management can actually differentiate your product in the market. My worthy opponent has made certain points and I'll come to them to see how they shape up. But before I say something about those points, let me make one more point. Not only is service management equally important in comparison to project management, but in some cases, it is even more important. Especially when you're dealing with products which are similar. Imagine a scenario. All of us are working in some way with the IT services industry or IT product industry. At the last count, how many competitors did our companies have in the market? Look at financial services, look at education services. You name a vendor, you name a company, there are more than one companies available satisfying the same niche. It's a very commoditized market at this point of time. Having a different product, having a different service is no longer an option. I agree, you might always be an Apple, and I know you are working with the company also as a manager. But unless you have a differentiation in your service, you cannot hope to even retain the business of that company. I'll come to that point again. But before that, let me elaborate on an example which is very, very Indian and very, very local. There is a company, and it's called Indus Ventures. It works in conjunction with a company called Nokia. What is the business of this company? They basically manage the infrastructure of these three companies: Airtel, Idea, Vodafone. The infrastructure of these three telecom companies in the Maharashtra and Goa circle is essentially managed on the same hardware using the same technology. And yet, when we come and ask about ratings of different brands which we work with, we always think, okay, Vodafone has this nice little doggy who follows us, maybe that is the one which is a better service. Or maybe when we call up Idea, we are immediately connected to a call center rep, and that is why Idea is better. It is essentially the same network, the same product, the same service being delivered to us through a different channel, and creates a perception in the mind that this telecom company is better than the other one. Once again, unless the service delivery has been planned for, unless the service delivery has been thought about, the best managed project cannot deliver value. Let me give you another example, and after that I promise I will not give any more examples because I think there are quite a few. And Apple, the Apple. All of us are familiar with these products, and I myself am a big fan of the kind of technology which Apple produces. Nobody else can actually do the kind of user interface which Apple does. As all of us know, Apple doesn't really have an authorized Apple store in India. It retails in India through the HCL stores. Recently, a friend of mine was deciding to buy an iPad and wanted to get some information on the internet forums about what is the kind of service that you can receive in India. Now, iPad is a product in itself. Every other iPad tablet device that you will see in the market is in some way inferior to the iPad in terms of functionality. But the overwhelming majority of the Indian users in that forum says, don't go for the iPad. For getting a small service change done to it, we need to wait for months because HCL doesn't have those parts over here. Nothing against HCL, this is the way the model works. So even a technically superior product might lose out in case the service delivery doesn't support. My opponent has been talking about some very worthy points about why project management is important, and let me contend at this point of time itself that I am not taking that importance. I think unless project management and service management exist in conjunction, you really cannot deliver a completely fair experience. The first point was that the project management exercise is essentially the first time that you are creating any impression in front of your customer. You're doing a big bang project, everybody knows what you're doing, and unless you do a good job, the customer will not be impressed, will not be referring you to anybody. I say, if you think that delivering the project and fulfilling all the requirements is the only part of the project, I think you're missing out on something important. Let's look at it from the perspective of all the various stakeholders who are typically involved in a program or in an organization. Does the senior management want that the project application, consider it, say it's an ERP application, that the ERP application is developed and delivered on time, or does the senior management want that their cost reducing managing their work? Unless an application is used, the senior management is not going to get their objectives fulfilled. If you look at the employees of any company, do they care whether a new project has been delivered? They do not. Unless the service delivery supports a new application, it is useless to any company.
Shall I come in?
Let me complete my points, and definitely you can after that. A good project leads to references. That was another point which was made by Zafar. A good project does not lead to references. A good user experience leads to references. Otherwise, it might also lead to the point that these guys develop the code and vanish. Something that has been accused of against Indian IT companies in a lot of markets, specifically North America, where vendors have been known to vanish after delivering a piece of code with absolutely no warranty support being offered after that. There was also some points made about this water bottle which was kept over here, a beautiful water bottle which has a